Welcome to Bespoken, the podcast that explores the world of independent music and physical media culture. I'm Scott Pollack, your host and the president of A to Z Media. Today, I am really excited to be welcoming two special guests from the venerable Hopeless Records label based in Southern California. Vice President of Operations, Christina Johns, and founder and president, Louis Posen. Thank you both so much for agreeing to be in our podcast.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
Of course. I know we've worked with you guys for a long time, and I think it's really your constant inspiration to Lucas, myself, Fritch, and all the people here, Sarah at A to Z. So I think it's really a very unique opportunity to get to speak with you both and to learn about the history of the label as well as what's going on today. So, Louis, I'd love to begin. You began the label over 30 years ago with a Guttermouth 7-inch. And did you ever think you would be here today, 30 years down the road? I mean, a few years after having Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Punk Rock Museum sort of retrospectives, did you ever think when you started the label, like this is, the shape that it would take?
Yeah, people say you have dreams when you're a kid and you're striving to reach those dreams, but this was never a dream. This is beyond any dream that I ever had. I was dared to start the label and put out that Guttermouth 7-inch, went out and bought a book called How to Run an Independent Record Label, called the only person I knew with a record label, Fat Mike at Fat Records, and asked for his help. But had no idea there'd even be a second record, let alone 30 plus years and being one of the largest independent rock record labels in the world. So there isn't even words to describe it. And I'm so appreciative and grateful every day to be doing this, to do something I love, to be part of independent music, this part of independent music, and have an amazing team, including Christina, who gets the pleasure of working with A to Z every day.
Absolutely. You've had some fabulous team members work with Hopeless for so many years. I mean, and I think that speaks to the people at the label, but also a lot of the artists have also been with you for so many years. I mean, it really speaks to this continuity and longevity.
Well, we want to be doing things the right way. We're not just putting out music and making artists rich and famous. We're also want to do this in a way in which has sustainability and where we could feel good about it. And that, starts with principles and trying to have, our behavior meet those principles. And that's why we have them on our website and why we talk about them regularly. And I think that plays a part in why so many artists have stayed for so long and why so many team members have stayed for so long.
I mean, Christina, you've been with the label for how many years now?
Like 7.5.
And I mean, was Hopeless always one of those sort of dream labels growing up? If you were a fan of the band, to one day get to maybe even work at a label like Hopeless?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there weren't that many like independent punk labels. It was really Hopeless, Fat, Epitaph, Silent W. I feel like that's kind of it. And I've worked at 3 of them because we just acquired Fat, which is even crazier after Louis saying that Mike helped him start Hopeless.
It's like a real full circle.
Christina are full circle too. We went probably a lot of shows together in Vegas at the Hunt Ridge. I remember seeing Guttermouth and Less Than Jake there and others. And I think Christina was at those shows. We just didn't know each other at the time.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot because that was like the venue I grew up going to. And so Louis and I were probably at a lot of the same shows.
Did you grow up in Vegas as well? Sorry, Louis.
Yeah. We moved there when I was 15. So I lived there from 15 to 21. So prime high school show-going years.
Sure.
But all those bands are Fat Records bands.
And then I grew up in LA, but I'd go wherever there were shows. So at first I started going up to Berkeley to 924 Gilman Street, and then our bands would play out in Vegas. Some of the craziest shows. There was like a slab of concrete in the middle of the desert, like 30 minutes from Vegas, and they just set up a generator, and people would come and bring a cooler of beer, and that was the show.
I
Very
didn't go to
punk
those.
rock. Can you talk then the
Parents
full
will let you.
circle about the recent acquisition then of Fat Records? I mean, I think that really kind of encapsulates where you started and where you are now, that you were able to make that work in today's day and age.
Yeah, well, I go all the way back before Hopeless. My friendship with Mike and his ex-wife, Erin. When I was in college going to film school, I cold call Mike and asked him if NoFX would let me direct a video for them. And somehow they said yes, and I directed the video for Bob, and we built a friendship. And so I didn't think that was going to turn into a 30-plus year friendship, and ending up partnering with them and taking on the catalog and the future of Fat Records. But it's pretty amazing to think back on those days of not just a video, but him bringing me to the first recording studio I had ever gone to while Propaganda was recording How to Clean Everything. I then directed the video for Lagwagon and so many other things. Spent a lot of time in the Fat Records office and was friends with the team, and they showed me so many things to not make the same mistakes that they were making.
And so what are some of the plans to kind of reintroduce or reissue a lot of the catalog? I believe we've just started working on a few of those projects.
Yeah.
I'll let Christina. Yeah, go for it, Christina.
I was gonna say, so yeah, we just started setting up some new releases, so that's what we're working on with you guys. So there's the Strung Out, Exile and Oblivion anniversary, which is like in a new packaging with an additional song. And then the newest, or like the brand new release that we did was Bad Cop. Their new record was kind of stuck in limbo between the sale, and so Fat didn't put it out, but we were waiting. And so that's our like newest thing. And they've been really great to work with. And A to Z made the CDs and the vinyl, and that one's coming out soon. And so then the plan is to do a ton of reissues and just get everything back in stock. And then we also have a bunch of anniversary things coming up where we're going to do new packaging and add songs and like make a whole new piece to sell. So there's some of those in the pipeline as well.
Do you think you need to kind of reintroduce Fat into today's day and age, or you feel like there's such legacy and history with the label and a lot of the bands?
I mean, I think they have a really strong following still. Like the people who really know and love Fat are very aware of what's going on. Maybe we have to reintroduce it at retail a little bit because I don't know how available things have been. But I think fans know what's going on.
Totally. But what I think we could do is take this amazing legacy and bring it to an audience that doesn't follow Fat on a regular basis. So many artists today are inspired by and have been inspired by so many of these artists in the catalog. And there's just so many people just learning about the history of punk now. And they should really understand that Fat was at the forefront and really drove the community. People say it was, Green Day or Offspring that really broke it out into the mainstream, but it was people like NoFX who would, sign artists at their label, take them out on tour around the world, and really build up the community. And I don't think they've gotten the credit that they deserve for that and been recognized for it. So we're planning to do that, and we're going to be doing a bunch of things for their 35th anniversary next year, which will have special editions of things on vinyl, but there'll also be events and other things to celebrate the anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask, like, what role does physical media, and you guys are so great at really so many different vinyl color variants, different packaging. So what role does the physical side come into play with also the reality of breaking or retelling the story in a digital or, other interactive kind of way?
Sure. I mean, I think, some bands are more physical bands than others. I think Fat as a whole is like really physical heavy. So trying to make things interesting and different, especially with like represses and anniversary editions, so that there's a reason for fans to want to collect all of them.
I think our community, the punk community, and Fat as a leader in it, is always about something more than just a song or streaming a song. You know, it's about being part of something, connecting, having an emotional connection. And it's hard to do that in a digital world, you know, so holding it, playing it, looking at who they're thinking, you know, what other artists played on the record, you know, what other artists are in the catalog. These are all a huge part of the story.
Would you say that's true with a lot of the artists, the majority of releases that are coming out on Hopeless, that physical and this connection with the community and fans is still a very large overriding kind of drive for the label and the bands that have really had this long-standing relationship with the label?
Totally. And it goes beyond just our label. I mean, I think Fat does it as good as anybody, but I think it's our whole community, whether you want to call it the punk or alternative or non-mainstream rock or Warped Tour. Well, there's a lot of names for it, but this community is really built on being part of something together and it being more than just a hit song. And so that lends itself very well to albums. It lends itself well to physical and lends itself to sharing with other people. There isn't like a huge separation in our community between the artists and the fans. You know, the fans are oftentimes even part of the band in some way. They're on the stage. They're creating artwork that they share with the artists, and the artists may even use that artwork in their flyers or in their albums. So it's a unique community where physical things and being together and doing things together is at the heart of what drives.
And now more than ever, really, like we're all living in these virtual spaces, but how do you actually meaningfully bring people together?
Luckily, we've been in this community all 30 years, and I don't think that part of it has changed. I think there's other areas of music where they're struggling because of a lack of connection. We've never had that issue.
For sure. Christina, how do you work with bands when you're working on a new project or a reissue, as far as the project's campaign, the aim, and certainly in our world, the what the record is going to look like, or some of the various options, particularly because you're really known for this great direct-to-consumer, direct-to-fan business where you're putting out so many different colors, variants, special editions, all this kind of stuff. I mean, how do you approach that?
Well, first off, thank you for saying that.
Of course.
It's different. I mean, so our team, we work really closely together. So I work really closely with marketing and with sales. So we figure out, what we want to do with the record, where we want to sell it, if we want specific exclusives, if the band is going to be touring, we should make them an exclusive color or something. And then I work with the bands either directly or through management. A lot of our bands actually do the art themselves. So I'll work with them to figure out what kind of packaging they're thinking, or like what the art looks like. And then based on that, maybe I'll suggest doing like a die cut thing or changing the finish or something like that. Or the band will come and say like, hey, we want to do this. Like the Wonder Years, we've done a ton of really cool creative box sets with A to Z for them. And it's usually coming from the singer. He'll just say what he's envisioning, and then I'll work with Lucas and Fritch to figure out how we make that a thing. And then we'll just kind of work together and they'll make samples, and we'll go back and forth, and then double check that everything looks good. And we usually will pick colors to match the artwork. And then just make it.
Make it happen.
Yeah, but so it's like a combination of the ideas coming from us or coming from the band, or hiring an artist that they really like, and then that's who will come up with a lot of it. But it is pretty involved. Like we are really hands-on with it and want to make sure everything looks good and the way that people are expecting it to look.
And we're looking at it globally too. I mean, that's what's great about this community too. It's not just about the United States. We're looking at the whole world, and we have D2Cs in 4 different places in the world, physical distributors in, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 countries. So we're always thinking about the fans and what's the experience we want them to have in Germany and Japan and Australia. And so it's sort of a pretty complicated endeavor to, roll out these digital products.
Yeah, I was going to ask how the international various operations really, how you work with them, how the bands work with them, and certainly how it all rolls into your physical strategy of sales. I mean, does the same record that sells here sell in Germany or Japan, or are there slight tweakings for those local markets?
Yeah, we definitely, we have reps in different territories. So we trust them to be the expert in that area. We definitely sell most things everywhere, but the quantities range. Like some bands are really big in the UK and then not that big in other places, or, really big in the US and not that big. But generally, we everything goes everywhere, but we'll do different colors for different territories. Sometimes we try to also keep the pricing low, but also keep things cool and interesting. So that's a bit of a struggle because there's different, currencies in different places, and trying to make it so that like a young fan can afford what we're making everywhere.
I mean, what do you consider to be like, a special release in this day and age when there's so many different records coming out, so many different variants? How do you make it special? I mean, what are some of the kind of unique touches that you are able to bring to make your records really stand out and appeal to your fans?
Well, so it is pretty based on artists, like we try to do stuff that we think their fans will be into. So we just did the Michael Clifford record. He's in 5 Seconds of Summer. We did his first solo record. It came out on the 25th. So very new. But we did a standard version for retail that the packaging was really cool and fun. He hired a friend to make everything. And we did like really custom cool colors for a bunch of different places. But we also did a D2C variant that was in a gatefold instead of a standard jacket. And the packaging was slightly different and the art was different. The center labels were different. We did different colors, and they had a little sticker sheet, and you could decorate Michael. So it was like a little like animated him, and then it had little shirts and little boots and little headphones, and you can stick them on. But it was like, very specific to what his fans would be into. And they also really like CDs. So for his CD, the booklet is really cute and has like little questionnaires that you can fill out on the pages, which is not in the vinyl. So it's all kind of different.
Yeah. Do you seeing some of the younger fans respond to CDs at all these days?
For him, we saw a lot of CDs, but it's not the norm usually. It just kind of depends.
For sure.
We think they're back. Not for everybody, but in a lot of ways. I mean, vinyl's become expensive. So, if you are going to, say, do a signing and that's important to the fan, might be a better entry point to get a CD. And I don't know, vinyl had, when it started resurging again, it was nostalgic. CDs might be going through the same process of becoming nostalgic.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
They're also, we noticed at Warped Tour, we sold a lot of CDs because they're easier to carry around. You don't want to carry around a vinyl record all day when you're sweating and moshing.
Absolutely. And, with regards to bands that you look to sign, are there any kind of criteria, any really sort of intangibles that you look for? Again, you have such longevity with so many of the bands that, like, I'm sure it must be a very considered sort of decision when you're thinking of signing someone.
Yeah, well, we have an AR committee, what we call it. It's weird to say the word A&R, feels very corporate. We have a committee where we meet every week to talk about new artists, and Eric Tobin is our head of A&R. He's been here 20 years. He knows what we do well and what's going to work. Ashlyn's been working with him now for over a year. She's been a great addition to the team. And then the rest of the A&R committee, we're always looking at every aspect of an artist. And as I said earlier, this isn't just about a hit song. So we're looking at everything about how this artist is going to connect with fans, and is this something that can be scaled to a large level or larger level, and what pathways do we see this working? But we look at everything from their performance to their songwriting to how they interact with their fans online, how they interact with them in person. But to me, I always focus on what the emotional connection is between them and fans, because I think it's hard to learn that. Sort of, you have that innate ability or you don't. I'm sure you can get better at it. I remember seeing that, when I saw Friends for the first time, or I saw that show for the first time, I saw them for the first time. It was clear they weren't polished artists at the time, but it was super clear they had a connection with their fans, and if they could do that throughout the world, that this was going to be.
For sure. And with regards to the sub-city label and the whole philanthropic aspect to Hopeless, does that come into play at all with potential signings of bands? Do you look for that, or that's something that you're doing regardless?
Yeah, we just think it's part of being a human being, is caring about other human beings. So we started the Hopeless Foundation in 1998. We've always tried to find opportunities for artists to connect with their fans on something larger than themselves. And we've now raised over $3 million for our 50 charitable initiatives. We always look for people who are trying to play music, not just to become rich and famous. So on that side, yes, always great when we're looking at artists that are already doing things for other people and connecting to nonprofit organizations. But a lot of times they don't even know that opportunity exists, and they come into the family and realize there's that opportunity, and then they'll do a song for Songs That Saved My Life, or they'll volunteer at the Hopeless Music Academy, where we now have a program to help under-resourced kids get into the music industry.
That's fabulous. I mean, can you talk about some of the maybe recent or upcoming subsidy projects that you're working on?
Well, we are working on 2 songs for Songs That Saved My Life right now to come out in September on World War II Suicide Prevention Day. We are knee deep in our Hopeless Music Academy. Summer Camp 2 is running right now. We just had them take a field trip in our office, and they got to meet the members of NoFX. It's really cool. And we also do a cause of the month, and we promote that on our socials and our other communications. So when you check out on our website, you can make a donation for our cause of the month.
I think that's really something that more record labels could be doing, is this whole other side. Is that something that you've talked to other labels or organizations? I know you're very involved in A2IM. Is that something to really try to introduce on a more industry-wide basis?
I think everyone, whether they are running a record label, or they're an artist, or they work at Amazon, or they or the stay-at-home parent, I think we all have something to contribute. Our way of doing that is just sharing what we're doing and telling people you can always call us, and we'll gladly share anything that we've learned along the way. We don't pressure or force anyone to be doing it, but if we all did it, these little ripples of hope would become a tidal change.
And Christina, do people in the office or various staff members get involved in some of these or propose potential opportunities to kind of engage?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of volunteer days. So we do staff outings every couple months. And so a bunch of those have been volunteer days, which is cool. And so everyone usually goes to those. And then a bunch of us have been or have signed up to be speakers at the Hopeless Music Academy. And another thing about the Academy that's really cool is that it has a fully equipped recording studio that these kids have access to, which is amazing. Because I apprenticed at a studio in Vegas, and it wasn't cheap. And then I went to school for sound engineering and music business, also not cheap. And like these kids are really young and they have access to all this cool stuff that they can just kind of go play around with. And it's all free. It's like kind of amazing. And we have some artists too who have signed up to speak at the school and talk to the kids.
Have you put out anything? I mean, do you see any potential artists coming through all the way to being on Hopeless one day?
It's pretty new, but maybe.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
That's true.
But that's not our goal. Our goal is
For
to
sure.
help these kids.
Just have access.
The industry is a pretty closed off industry. Typically, you know, someone has significant resources. And so we think their industry will be better off by having different ways of thinking, more diverse culture. And so the industry, and most of these kids don't even know these jobs exist. They know that there's artists that they're fans of. They don't realize what marketing is, what distribution is, what vinyl manufacturing is. One of these hits could be the next person that worked at A. Or start the question.
We would be happy to be involved as well. And I know we've worked with you on the comps, so we would certainly look forward to contributing any way we could. We look at Hopeless really as this inspirational label that is doing big things on a meaningful music releasing side, but also on this whole other philanthropic aspect that you just don't see that much in the industry at all.
You guys are the same way, and I think that's why we work so long together, work so well together. So I think we share a lot of values. Look at life at work similarly.
Absolutely. So what's next? So wrapping up this conversation, wrapping up over 30 years, you seem like you're acquiring, friends labels and you have all these, projects going on. What is like looming next for you, Louis and Christina, for the label and other ventures?
Well, I'm old enough now that I can't think very clearly. So I just surround myself with really great people. They tell me what we're going to be doing, and then I show my face and say, this is what we're going to be doing. And everyone thinks that is a brilliant idea. But we always want to be better than we are. I mean, it's one of our principles is we're always listening, learning, and growing. And we want to do a better job at developing our careers. That's what we do here. We want to be a better team or every new way in which we can help them reach their full potential. And we want to do our part of making, our community and our world a better place.
Thanks. I know that's not the point of the podcast, but I really love working with Uzi. And I think Sarah's the coolest.
Me too. Me too. We don't want to include that. That might be,
You can
no,
just let her
we
know.
don't need to. Absolutely. She's in the room next to me. So absolutely. Thank you both so much for the time and for the continued partnership. We really appreciate it.